Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to welcome you to the City Council meeting. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Let the record show that all members of the council are present with the exception of Councilman Pardee and Councilman Kerr. Copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the meeting room and is accessible to members of the public at any time during the course of this meeting. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a citizen or councilman so requests. First item is item A, approve agenda as submitted. Item B, receive and place on file all notices pertaining to this meeting. Item C, receive and place on file all materials having any bearing on this meeting. Item D, approval of minutes of regular meeting on August 20th, 2018 as on file in the city clerk's office. Item E, approval of treasurer's report of claims in the amount of $260,731.19. Item F, approval of Boswell report of claims in the amount of $8,861.41. Item G, approval of special designated license application of Tall Tree Tastings, LLC, for the 5th Street Kickoff event to be held on October 13th, 2018 from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at 122 North 5th Street, Beatrice, Nebraska. Item H, approval of special designated license application of Tall Tree Tastings, LLC, for a fundraiser event to be held on October 30th, 2018 from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Beatrice Community Players, 412 Ella Street, Beatrice, Nebraska. Item I, approval of application of addition to the liquor license of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles, Area 531, located at 119 North 19th Street, for an addition of a walk-in cooler. Item J, resolution number 6259, designating the first parking stall on the north side of Court Street and the west of the intersection of 5th Street and Court Street as a 15-minute loading and unloading parking stall. Item K, resolution number 6260, designating a 15-minute loading and unloading parking stall on the east side of 5th Street between Court Street and the alley between Court Street and Ella Street. Item L, resolution number 6261, granting permission to the Beatrice Area Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals of Gage County to sell or offer for sale or peddle goods, wares, or merchandise on city property in the right-of-way along the sidewalk of 5th Street between Court Street and Ella Street on September 29th, 2018 between the hours of 12 p.m. and 11 p.m. Item M, resolution number 6262, executing the interconnection and interchange agreement between the City of Beatrice and the Nebraska Public Power District as recommended by the Board of Public Works. Item N, resolution number 6263, executing the transmission substation service agreement between the City of Beatrice and the Nebraska Public Power District as recommended by the Board of Public Works. Item O, resolution number 6264, entering into an agreement with JEO Consulting Group, Incorporated, to provide public education and outreach regarding the preliminary plans and designs for a new fire station. And item P, resolution number 6265, executing the federal grant award to accept funds from the Nebraska Crime Commission to purchase a new vehicle for use by the Beatrice Police Department. Is there any item any member of the council wants removed from the consent agenda? Ted?
Rick was up.
Rick?
O, please.
Item O. Ted?
That's what I was going to pull up.
All right. Mr. Catlin, anybody else? Anyone from the audience? All right, Mr. Catlin?
Mayor, I would move that all the items listed on the consent agenda, with the exception of item O, be approved, accepted, and ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that all items under the consent agenda, with the exception of item O, be approved, accepted, and are ratified. Your vote, please. That is approved 6-0.
Mayor, I would move that item O, resolution number 6264, entering an agreement with JEO Consulting Group Incorporated to provide public education and outreach regarding the preliminary plans and designs for a new fire station be approved, accepted, and/or ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that we have further discussion regarding the proposed resolution number 6264. Rick?
Just a little bit more about that. It seemed a little vague. The resolution seemed a little vague, and the number was a little higher than what I had hoped that would be, so.
Well, what you have attached to the resolution, what we would do is we'd look to hire JEO to help us with some marketing, if you will, on this sales tax issue we're looking to present to the voters here in November. Attached as Exhibit A outlines what their scope would be as part of that. Namely, if you look through there, what they do is they provide some written information for us to provide to the public about the upcoming fire station and about the sales tax issue that's out there. They would host a public meeting, at which place they would help facilitate a meeting between the public and obviously city officials, answering questions about the fire station. You see there the deliverables. They talk about fact sheets, public displays, news media releases, those types of things. And then another item they have in here is community relations training, basically sitting down with the firefighters or whatever staff for the city would like some education as far as how to present the information back out to the public about the upcoming sales tax issue. And I believe in here on page 73 of your packet, it says a fee of not to exceed $9,000.
So I think that allows some negotiation room. But the more you negotiate, the less you're going to receive.
I didn't really want to receive any less, just less money.
I did reach out to JEO, did talk to them about that. They feel they're already discounting that price. If price is a concern, what we would look to do if you were to approve this tonight is we would look to limit the items that they would provide to us as part of that scope process in order to make sure that we keep it below a dollar amount that this body felt comfortable with.
Comments? Ted?
Well, I was going to pull it off as well. I'm not surprised at the dollar. So I'm not surprised at the dollar amount. Not necessarily happy or unhappy with it, but what the scope is, they're going to speak with the firefighters and explain to them how to present it. I would have liked to had them at a work session or a council meeting before this. I mean, we're 60 days less. We're 65 days from the election. You know,
And just so we're clear, they're both with JEO, both the architectural services are with JEO.
Right.
This is with their public outreach and education portion.
Yeah, it's their marketing
I believe we anticipate their architectural folks to be here in 2 weeks to present their drawings and their information and their work they've been doing.
Okay.
So I do believe they're scheduled to be here in a couple weeks. This is a same company, different division.
Okay. Well, I haven't had a lot of people ask me about this other than the few comments I think people that have talked to me about it have already made up their mind what they're going to do when they go to the ballot box. And but I have limited information to what I can share with them as far as what's really being worked on, and I think we've done ourselves a bit of a disservice here at this point. But I wasn't surprised at the price. I'm not thrilled with it, but I'm not going to vote against it because if we're going to do this, we need to get it done. But that's all I had. I would have liked to have a little bit more of their marketing part of it, that or how they intend to have us present it or them present it. I wish we had a little of that before now, because it's not just the firemen and firefighters that get asked. We get asked. So that's it. That's all I had.
Any other comments? Public? And your vote, please. And that is approved 5-1 with Councilman Claybaugh voting no. All right, next item is a public hearing to amend the fiscal year 2018 budget.
So, as we do most years, you end up having to amend the budget as we get towards the end of it. What we have to amend the budget this year is just a couple of items which make up a bulk of what we're looking to amend. One of those being Meadow Street. Meadow Street was the new street that was built in the Floating Springs addition. That street was paid for with TIF financing, so it's $90 out of the city's pocket. However, since it is done this year, for auditing purposes, Linda needs to book the entire asset this year. So she also needs to then show that it's on our budget. So you see that get added to the budget this year. Highway 77 is another one of those. Same thing. The work is being done this fiscal year. It'll be completed this fiscal year. So we need to show the entire asset being completed, although we are making payments for it over the next 3 years, for our share of it, I should say. Other than that, there's a few small things in there, sales tax, or excuse me, sales lottery tax, some of those things. Health insurance claims, same song, different year. Health insurance claims were higher than what we had budgeted for, and so we've added some additional funds for that purpose. Library building improvement, this was something that was budgeted in FY17. It was not completed until FY18. So it was a carryover item that got put in this year's budget. And then probably contractual services for Boswell. You see we had an increase for commercial landfill fees for Boswell, so therefore additional fees were billed, collected, and now will be remitted to Boswell, just kind of a pass-through. And then the purchase power one at the bottom. We've had some rate increases this year. We want to make sure that we have enough built into the budget to account for those as the next couple of months. We have to come back and supplement a second time. We put it at $1 million to be very conservative, make sure we have enough funds to get us through the rest of this year. But we do not anticipate using all of those. But that kind of makes up what the budget supplement, what we're looking for in FY18.
The Highway 77 balance that we're going to be paying over the next 3 years is the $517,000. And so we're booking the entire expense of Highway 77 this year, which was 1.1?
Total amount was what, 1.4?
1.4, yeah.
Okay. In addition to, I think I'm misunderstanding
Come on up,
that.
Linda.
The 517 is in the 1.4, is that correct?
Correct.
All right,
Correct.
yeah.
So basically, you'll have a liability where you'll have a due to the state of Nebraska
Right.
that will offset that, but you have to show the expense of the total cost of construction in this year,
Got it.
And the
even though
reason
you don't pay the money out.
the 900,000 is not shown because we already budgeted for that.
Yes.
It was already in the budget.
Correct.
The 500,000 was additional that we did not anticipate when we made the budget, which is why you see 500,000.
And on the purchase power, we also had increased sales. It wasn't just NPPD's
Right.
increased cost. We had additional sales through, with the weather, the way it's been, so.
I'm with Stan on the highway thing. So Linda, it's the same amount for the 3 years. You're just spreading it over 3 years?
Right. The 500 is the total, so each year we'll pay 100 and, what is it, divided by 3?
Yeah.
130, right. And that's in the next 3 years' budgets to come out of the cash that's in the street fund.
Right.
We'll continue to budget that payment to the state. But when you construct the road and you put it in, you got that
I got
part.
that. I got
Okay.
that. As I went, I thought we, the way I read it, I thought we owed them the 500 each of the 3 years.
Oh,
And
no,
I
no,
went,
no.
wait a
No,
minute,
no, no.
that doesn't add up to 1.4. I went
Total.
total.
We'll divide that by 3 and pay it over 3 years.
I got it now.
Yep.
I got it now. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Might as well stay up here
Yeah,
and sit
just
down.
yeah.
Well, then I better bring my book.
Any other questions of Linda or Tobias?
Mayor, I would move that the public hearing be closed at 7:14 PM.
By Catlin, seconded by Billsbuck, that the public hearing be closed at 7:14 PM. Your vote, please. That is approved 6-0. Next is the public hearing on the second year of the proposed fiscal year 2018 and 2019 biennial budget.
As we discussed at the work session a week ago, we're in the middle of our biennial budget. We talked about some of the changes that we're looking at, really not much changes for the FY19 budget. We do have a 2-year budget, but we do come back and have a public hearing in the middle of it, just so everybody's on track, everybody understands what we approved already, where we're going, and so that's the purpose of tonight's public hearing on the biennial budget.
Questions, gentlemen? Not a lot of changes.
Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:15 PM.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Cook, that the public hearing be closed at 7:15 PM. And your vote, please. And that is approved 6-0. Next, I would entertain a motion to adopt the biennial appropriations bill for fiscal years 2018 and 19.
Mayor, I would move that said ordinance be given number 18-033. The title therefore be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Claybaugh, that the ordinance be given number 18-033, the title thereof approved, rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. A motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. That is approved 6-0. Ordinance number 18-033 by number the first time, ordinance number 18-033 by number the second time, and ordinance number 18-033 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I would move that ordinance number 18-033 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that ordinance number 18-033 be passed and approved. Any further discussion from the council? From the audience? And your vote, please. That is approved 6-0. Ordinance number 18-033 has been passed and approved.
Mayor, and I would move to increase the total restricted funds authority for the fiscal year beginning on October 1st, 2018 and ending on September 30th, 2019 by an additional 1% as authorized in Section 13-519 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Cook, to increase the total restricted funds authority for the fiscal year beginning on October 1st, 2018 and ending on September 30th, 2019 by the additional 1% as authorized by Section 13-519 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. Tobias?
Again, this is something we do every year. Linda, you want to give a brief explanation of your restricted funds?
Well, your restricted funds are basically your tax revenues, your property taxes, your sales taxes, your motor vehicle taxes, the highway allocation funds that come through from the state, the municipal equalization funds that are tax funds collected by the state and then remitted to the cities. So you take those restricted funds, and you do have some exemptions for your restricted funds for capital improvements to real estate and bonded indebtedness and interlocal agreements. So once you come up with that net figure, the state allows you to increase your restricted funds authority, which is all of those funds, every year 2.5% by state statute, but you can increase it an additional 1% by the vote of this body to make it a total of 3.5%. And all that does is just increase your base in case you need it in the future. We currently have an unused restricted funds authority of 1.3 million. So, but it just, for future use, to keep that base where it needs to be, if this body increases at the additional 1%, then we have that there.
Increase it to 400%.
It amounts to $69,000.
Questions?
Doesn't mean we're gonna levy it, just
Right.
means that you can in the future.
I do have one question, Linda.
Good.
So, and I think I'm looking at the answer of it. So, when I'm asked, what is the total, on both sides, what is the total budget for the city of Beatrice annually?
It is on, in your budget. This page. $47,453,040. Because you don't include depreciation when you submit your budget to the state.
Yeah, I was looking at it, I thought it had the right line.
Yeah,
Okay.
that doesn't include depreciation, but that's the way you submit it to the state.
Right.
So,
I just, the only reason I ask is I was having this conversation at home, and I remember when we still had management budget committee, and I
Yeah.
was the chair of that, our budget was at 36. And I know when I came on originally in the early 90s, I think our budget was 21 or 20. And it just, we have less people and less employees and less thing, but it's a number that I get asked. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
sure.
Any other questions? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. And that is approved 6-0. Next is the public hearing to set the fiscal year 2019 final property tax request.
Again, as we talked about the work session a week ago, we're looking at really two things when it comes to the property tax request for FY19. One being the debt, public safety debt that we issued during FY18. Those bond payments start to become due. The other portion of that is the municipal equalization funds are decreasing next year by a tune of about $50,000 for the city. And so what we are presenting tonight is a levy increase of about 1.77 cents.
Questions, gentlemen? Anyone? Audience? Come on up. Just for the record, just if you state your name and address, please, Mr. Bruins, I'd appreciate it.
Wayne Bruins, 1201 Grant Street, Beatrice. I guess the only thing I got is a little question of this, whether this is a good time or not to be putting an additional 1.77 cents tax on when we are trying to, and obviously we spent some money on JEO trying to get this fire department pushed through. I guess this thing's gonna, from what I can tell, generate about $112,000. And, you know, with the Beatrice 6 thing coming on the taxes and people nervous about that, I just don't think it's good timing now to put this on there. You know what I'm saying? Because I think, last I heard, this sales tax thing's gonna generate $1 million a year. So this may deter people from voting for that. You know, they know anytime people's taxes go up, it throws a red flag, so that's just my opinion.
Okay. Anybody have any questions of Wayne?
I mean, this, supposedly, this number is just a temporary problem anyway. So with the $47 million budget, I would think we could tweak a few things somewhere else rather than doing this to make up that little amount of money out of 47 million. So anyway, that's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Wayne. Any other comments or questions? All right, gentlemen, your vote, beg your pardon.
Mayor, I move that the
Just a minute. Rick?
What happens if we get our money back, and is that a year or 2 years that we get our money back for that 1.7 cents? Does that go away then, or do we still keep the?
Half the money goes to make the bond payments for the debt you issued. The other half, roughly half, is used for the reduction in municipal equalization funds for items you've already budgeted for in FY19. The money you might get back in the future would be in FY20 or 21 or someplace in the future, and you would adjust your budget those years to adjust for the amount of municipal equalization funds you get then.
And we really have no idea how that will come out next year. The state formula is very complicated. If you look at, you can go on the Nebraska State Auditor's website and click on municipal equalization funds, and when you see what some cities get and you try to figure out why are they getting this and why are they getting this, I have no idea whether, I'm just saying, This year, we needed to replace it with that because you'd already approved your budget. You'd already approved what we needed in funds. Next year, I don't know, we'll just have to see what the estimate comes out. We'll be in a new biennial budget cycle, and we'll deal with that at that time. Okay?
Answer your question?
Yep.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the public? Mr. Catlin?
Mayor, I would move the public hearing be closed at 7:25 PM.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that the public hearing be closed at 7:25 PM. Your vote, please. That's approved 6-0. Next is resolution number 6266, setting the property tax request for the city of Beatrice for fiscal year 2019.
Mayor, I would move that resolution number 6266 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Cook, that resolution number 6266 be passed and adopted. Any further discussion? Gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 6-0. Resolution number 6266 has been passed and adopted. Next is item B, resolution number 6267, calculating the amount of unused restricted funds authority.
Mayor, I would move that resolution number 6267 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that resolution number 6267 be passed and adopted. Discussion? Anyone? And your vote, please. That is approved 6-0. Resolution number 6267 has been approved. We have no ordinance this evening. Item number 6 is the public forum. Purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the city council for consideration at a later date. No discussion or action will be taken by the city council at this time. Anyone here have anything for the public forum? The public? All right, that moves us into discussions and reports, and the strategic plan update is on the agenda. Tobias?
Once again, it's time to bring back the strategic plan, talk about it, give some updates of where we're at on some things, answer any questions you guys might have. So rather than going through the entire document, I figure I'd just kind of hit some of the highlights, if you will, and the accomplishments that we've gotten so far. If you read through there's quite a bit of discussion about the downtown revitalization grant, phase 1 and phase 2. Obviously, phase 1's been completed. Phase 2 we're in the process of right now. You've seen quite a bit of the improvement throughout the downtown. We have some that have completed and finished and gotten their money back already. We have some that are in the process of getting work completed as we speak, waiting for them to just turn in their final bills and get them reimbursed. We have others that are still at the starting line waiting to get started, and so we are working with them to see what we can do to help get that project moving forward. But I think you've seen good progress there. I believe that we are eligible to do phase 1 again next year. I have to go back and check to make sure, but there's a certain time period you have to wait. Unfortunately, it means you have to do phase 1 again, which means you have to do a study again before you can do phase 2 again, which means you can get the money to do another project, whatever that happens to be downtown. Again, another thing that's pretty prevalent throughout the plan is talking about the environment and trees and that kind of stuff. I think you've seen a number of trees being planted by Mr. Peathott over the last year. He's got another grant to plant
Bunches of them.
it's a whole lot of trees. In fact, we've talked about we'll probably have a city-wide tree planting day for employees to go out and help plant trees, just because he's got a large number to get planted. But you see a lot of progress there. We talked about an annual long-range capital improvement plan. That's part that's in your budget. You see us go through that every year. Even though we're in a 2-year budget cycle, Lynn and I sat down with department heads and said, again, think about what you have coming up over the next 5-10 years that we can start planning for. I think you see real improvement there on the WPC side. Again, a lot of improvements that need to be made, a lot of costly improvements, but working through it in a way that you can do so without having to borrow money at this point. So I think you're seeing some benefits there. Another one's expanded enforcement of nuisance properties. Again, you guys get your monthly reports. You see what Chet and Rob are doing in the inspection department, the number of projects or properties they're keeping an eye on and keeping up on. I think it's quite impressive how much work they're getting done. And then another one throughout there is the Dempsters, what they call the Dempsters District. It talks about studying and doing those types of things. We've used the section 128A assessment that they talk about in there to, study the land, find out what's in the dirt, what's not in the dirt, what's going to, demolition of the building's going to be. So I think we've done quite a bit of that. We've explored going through the voluntary cleanup program with DEQ. It's the same program we just went through with the gas plant, what that would entail. We're looking into brownfield grants to see what's out there on the federal side, on the EPA. So we are doing quite a bit of work on those things, studying how we could address that issue a little bit more as we move forward. When I start looking at items that we're working on, a community investment group is mentioned in there. Some type of way to have, I don't know if a co-op's the right word, or some type of group where people would have a membership or some way to donate money or contribute money, have some shares, something along those lines. Then that group would go do some project in town. Michael Sutherland and I have been researching ones in other communities, trying to find out what we think would work here. Trying to find, really down to the chicken and the egg question at this point. Do you identify the problem first, do you set the group first? And so we're trying to work through that, trying to see if we can't do some legwork to see if we can see who would be interested in joining such a group. And if so, what projects do they want to see us move forward with, what dollar amounts, and really hope the committee kind of takes that and moves with it. But we're still looking at that one. Certified local government's another one. Michael and I have met numerous times with the state just to actually detail what the benefits are, what the burdens are in the city. I think we're pretty close to getting ready to draft an ordinance to hopefully put one of those together and bring it to this body. Quite simply, just something that's got put on the back burner after we got done studying it, and we'll look to bring that back to you. Improving our housing stock is a key thing in there. I think you've seen quite a bit of that work over the last year, both on the front of building new houses, but also on attacking dilapidated buildings throughout town, getting them removed. Sometimes the house is okay, but maybe the garage is kind of what's tearing down, bringing down the neighborhood, working on those improvements. And then the other one's fiber. Trust me, I spent a lot of time working on fiber, trying to get that issue resolved. Hopefully we'll have no more here in the next couple of months, but we've been working with a number of providers to try to see what is the best make and model for Beatrice. All of them do it a little differently, trying to find what would work best for our community. And then a couple items that are in there that frankly we've had no action on. One is neighborhood associations. We talked about trying to get different neighborhoods more involved, whether it's during the Christmas season or something like that, take a little pride. That's just something we have not made a lot of progress on. And the residential inspection program's another one. Something that's talked about, having some type of inspection program where rental properties would have to be inspected every 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. You're looking for some basic life safety things, make sure the window's open, it's got smoke detectors, some of those types of things. I had one meeting with the Landlords Association. We got some feedback from that one, and it's just something else we just haven't moved with one way or the other since then. So, other questions you guys have about what's in there? Or
Would this be appropriate to bring up the progress that's being made on the SEND program?
Sure.
The Tom Bliss?
yes, so part of our housing stock improvements that we talked about was we agreed to apply for part of that regional housing grant that SEND put in, again with Auburn and Fairbury. I'm trying to think of some of the other communities. Deschler was in there, and I think Geneva was. So we submitted our application looking for $1 million back from DED. We were approved, but we were approved for 64% of what we asked for. So what we need to contribute went from $200,000 down to $128,000, 64%. It's actually $127,900 if you want to do the math. We will contribute that. We'll get 64% we'll get our equal share back of what's in that fund. So we get roughly about $295,000 back that we can use for a housing project that we determine is best for the city of Beatrice. That can be promoting downtown housing. It can be rehabbing owner-occupied locations. It can be building new houses. There are some limitations. If you rehab, you can't rehab more than 50% of the assessed value. You can't build a new home valued, I believe, over $275,000. So there are some limitations there. but it's up to us to decide what we want to use our funds for. Really, what the state came down and said is, we want you to do it quickly, and we don't want you to bury it. Meaning, they don't want to see you put water infrastructure in. If you make it a revolving loan, or you get somehow that the money comes back to you, the second time you look to loan the money out or do something, there are no strings attached. You've used it once, you essentially defederalize the money, and you don't have to follow their rules and regulations the second time. So, we are working on coming up with some different ideas and projects for you, bring them back to this body, let you talk about them, see what you like, what you don't like, and then look to move forward on that project.
Questions? Comments? All right, anyone from the public? All right. Thanks, Tobias. Appreciate it. Linda, thanks for all your work too, what you're doing. Our next regular city council meeting is going to be on September 17th. Hopefully we have some of that information from JEO by then. And our work session then will be at the end of the month on September 24th. Mr. Catlin, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I would move that the meeting be adjourned at 7:36 PM.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Catlin and second by most everyone that we adjourn. Your vote, please. That is approved 6-0. Thank you.